This episode is sponsored by Lake Monster Details, producing the legacy line of Don's Light and Magic parts, offering upgrade parts and decals for accuracy, special effects, and lighting. Visit www.lakemonsterdetails.com and make it glow.
Hey guys, Will here. Welcome back to Modeling from the Ensign's Chair. This is episode 11 of my original Series 1350 build. And you can see we've made some, I finally made some progress. I know it's been 2 weeks since my last video, but some different parts of this have been giving me a little bit of trial and error. So I've finally got things worked out. I've got the secondary hull together, and I already talked about all the issues I've had with the getting the shuttle bay in place. And there's a couple other things I'll go over with this, and we'll talk about this saucer section, which I've just about I pretty much finished at this point. So as soon as the secondary hull is ready, it's ready to connect to it. So I've also got a couple other things we'll talk about, but I'll save those for the end of the video in case nobody's really interested in it. So if you're just here for the build, we'll get to the build, and we'll talk about that and get that out the way. So give me a minute, put you on the table, we'll get to work. Alright guys, so here we are. So this is where I'm at right now. I've got the secondary hull finally together, and you'll remember all the issues I had with getting this to close up properly with the shuttle bay in place. Still never quite got it to close up completely, even with all the material I removed from the inside of the hull. Like I said, I had that little hole breach there, and then with even cutting away a majority of the shuttle bay itself just to do the lighting properly on the inside, it still didn't close up all the way. So what I ended up doing was I got it to close. It sealed up nice here, and then I got it to seal up at the back end here, but for some reason I could not get, I had a little bit of a gap here still right in this area behind the light here, and you can kind of see a little bit there where the gap is still. But what I did was, because this was nice and sealed up, and then this back part managed to seal up a bit, and it wasn't flexing at all, I just took my UV resin and put that in there and sealed, filled in that gap, and came back and sanded that down, and then came back with my putty now. And the UV resin you don't want to use to join two surfaces, because it's not meant to be a glue, it's just meant to be a filler. And the reason why I could use it here is because, like I said, the bottom here pretty much sealed up good, and then the top up here sealed up good. So I just had this little bit of a gap right here. So it's pretty much just a hole. So I just filled it in with the UV resin. It's not flexing at all, and it should hold up fine. So, but I've got that in place. That's all good to go. I've still got some more, I got to put some more putty along the bottom edge of the interconnecting dorsal, or the neck here. And I got to do some puttying around the base of the pylons here. And you can see that that shuttle bay is in place. And this is actually the issue I had with why I didn't film last week, was I was working on this, because you got these lights here, and I had this done looking good, but then I realized that when I put it in place, the light test, I had a light leak here. So I came back and I light blocked this top part here and the bottom section here, and I masked this off so I wouldn't mess it up. And when I pulled the tape off, it pulled all the paint off. So I had to go back and repaint this. So, but it's repainted, looks good, especially when it's lit up. And I've got my control room up there. That's still got the mask in place over the window. I haven't pulled that off yet, in case I got to do some more painting on this top part here, which I will, because I can see some of the black primer still. So we'll get that done. You can see my wires here coming out the pylons. This is for the buster collectors, and this is going to control my warp chiller grills that are blue. So, and speaking of the buster collectors, I did get the housings on those painted up to match the hull color. So they're all painted up. I got to paint these little nubs here. Nubs is what I'm calling them. But it doesn't show them painted on the box, but I know I've seen from Boyd's build it, these get painted. I think they look better painted. I don't think it looks right to not paint those. I don't know why they don't show them as being painted on the box, but to me it just doesn't look right. So I'm gonna paint those and get those down, and then those buster collectors will be ready just to be put in place. All I got to do is paint up my rings and those grills that go on there. And oh, and as far as the deflector dish, now I went to the hobby store. I can't get to it right now because it's in my box down there, but I found some craft paint that I think is going to look really good on this deflector dish. So I'm hoping to get this done up and then be able to show it to you next episode. Yeah, so I've got some craft paint that I'm going to try out on this, and hopefully it works out as well as I think it will. And we'll have that done up, ready to go. And the saucer section is done, all the decals are done. I don't want to touch it too much because I just put the clear coat on the top of it. It's dry for the most part, but I don't want to fiddle with it too much until it's had some time to cure. Still got a little bit of a sheen to it because it hasn't completely dried. But one thing I did want to talk about. So as you know, I had trouble with the decals that came with the kit. And I went and got the decals from HTA Model Works, the ones Boyd uses and recommends. And ooh, I got a little air bubble right there I'm gonna have to fix. So I'll get that fixed. But so the decals, they're great decals. They respond really well to microset and microsol. And so I've used that to get them to kind of lay down real nice. And I did a couple coats of my top coat, my clear coat, which is the Duplicolor matte wheel finish, which I've showed in previous videos. But the only issues I've had with the decals is two things, and they're kind of my fault in a way. But these decals on the back here, let me see if I can pick this up so you can see it. I haven't clear coated the bottom so I can touch the bottom of it, but slide this out the way. So these decals on the back, the issue I have with it is this one here, and I don't know, I have the light right to where you can make it out, but so this one here is a little bit bigger than the door that's molded into the plastic. I don't know if you can make it out on the camera, but the lines for the door are here and here, so it's a little bit large. This one back here is way bigger than the door molded into the plastic. The bottom edge of the door should be here. The decal goes in. This is the same issue that the kit decals have. It's too big for where the door is molded into the plastic. So easy fix would have been just to cut this in half and then slide this bottom part up, and you wouldn't have known. When I put the microsol or microset on it, it would just blend it in, and you wouldn't know that the decal was cut in half. But I didn't really notice that. I kind of figured that they would have fixed that since this is an aftermarket decal. But so it didn't. It's got the same issue that the kit decal has. It's too long here, and the door should, the bottom red line should be right here. And and it's just a minor issue. And then this decal here on the back, I didn't notice till after I had applied it that this is supposed to be a light gray in the middle. And I'm not going to worry about it now because I'm not going to mess up the decal by trying to apply it. But just a suggestion, because I know Boyd works with HTA Model Works on this, but just a suggestion, maybe make this gray already, or a light gray, so that way people don't have to worry about painting it. But it's kind of my fault that, well, it is my fault that I didn't notice that before I had put that decal on, because it does tell you on the directions that number 6, light gray in the middle. So that's my fault that I didn't notice that, but it'd be a lot easier if that decal was just already light gray in the middle. That way you just put it on there and be done with it. But of course some people want to do their own color, so maybe that's why they didn't do it. But anyway, but other than that, the decals are great. Like I said, they respond really well to the microset and microsol. And once you put your top coat on, it's pretty easy to get the lines to disappear. I got a little bit still showing on this bottom one here. I've got to put another coat on, but I'm going to let this one dry thoroughly before I mess with it. So other than that, that's where I'm at with this. It's coming along pretty nicely. I still love the color, the overall color of it. And And someone had asked, I've had a couple people ask what colors I use, and I think I mentioned in a previous video, but I'll say it again. I used 2 parts of the XF12. Hang on, I'll grab it out the box here so I can show it to you. I used 2 parts of the XF12, the J in gray, and 1 part of XF2. And somebody asked how many bottles of this does it take to paint the whole model. Well, I bought 8 of the J in gray and 4 of the XF2 and mixed them all together. And I've painted the saucer section completely so far. I put a couple good coats on it, and so far I've still got, I don't have the bottle in here with me right now, but it's a bottle about that size, and I've still got probably over 3/4 of a bottle left. So it doesn't take a lot, apparently. I don't see it taking much more to paint the secondary hull than it did to paint it. Oh, and I already painted the warp nacelles too, so most of it's done. The only thing I've got left to paint is the secondary hull, and I've still got 3/4 of the bottle left. So it doesn't take a lot. If I had to guess right now, I'd probably say if you got, see, the thing is trying to mix them all together. So if you got, let's say 4 bottles of the J in gray and then 2 bottles of the XF2, you might be able to paint the whole model with that. But somebody that's used it before may be able to tell better than I can. I haven't completed it yet, but once I get done, I'll be able to tell you. And then here's that, what I was talking about, that craft paint. Now this one is, it says Treasure Gold. I got this at Hobby Lobby, and it's over in the craft paint section, and it's over near where the gilding stuff is. But they've got this one which is like a rose gold, and then they've got one that's more of a copper color. So, and the deflector dish is, as far as I know, is at least 2 if not 3 different tones. So I'm going to use this, and then the other one I got to get yet. I didn't grab it because I was going to make sure that I could use this properly before I got the other one. And it does pretty good at giving some reflectivity and makes it look pretty good. So I'm going to try that and we'll see what it looks like. Hopefully next episode I'll have that ready. And oh, one other thing too is, let's see if I can do this without touching the bottom here. So here's the bottom of the saucer, and I got my rings done. And people had asked how I did my rings. Well, I did Boyd's dropper method. I can't really set this down, but I took a dropper and I thinned out my my paint that I used, which I put on there was an XF60. It's like a dark yellow, and I thinned it out a little bit with the paint thinner, and used a dropper to drop it in there. Well, the thing is, Boyd uses a craft paint, and it's water-based, and if you messed up, it was easy just to wipe it off. The issue I had with this was when I did it, if I messed up and tried to wipe it, it just left a yellow residue on the clear coat here. Fortunately, I did have this clear coated already, and so I had to come back with the airbrush and touch it up a little bit. So probably better to do that with a craft paint like Boyd recommends. That way, if you do mess up a little bit, you're not having to come back and touch it up with your airbrush. You just wipe it off with some water and a rag. But so that's done. That's where I'm at with this. It's turning out pretty well. I like it. I like the whole color still overall. And with that being said, that's pretty much where I'm at this week. I did say there's a couple other things I want to go over. For one thing, if you've been following my build, if you followed the build on my workbench here, my build bench, it's not done. And obviously I'll get back to finishing it after I get this model done, and I want to finish my 1537 smoothie, go back to that and get that done. But this light needs to be installed. Right now I've just got the puck and the beacon, if you will, sitting on top. And then I finally found some lights I could use. I'll post a link for these in the description. I got these from Etsy, and they come from overseas somewhere, so it takes a little bit to get them in. But it's just a light strip, and it's got what is this, 8? It's got 8 LEDs on the end, and you turn the switch on and they light up. Now this one, I don't know if the camera's washing out, but these are blue and red. I've got another one coming, well actually two, because they didn't make one that's orange and green. I had to do those separately, so I've got another two of these coming. One's orange and one's green, and that way I can do these bulbs. And these will be the bulbs that go to either side of the beacon on the top here. So I'll get these installed, and you can change the patterns on these. There's a little button on here and it changes your patterns up a little bit. So that's kind of cool. I can randomize it, and that way when I install these it'll look random. But so anyway, there's that part. When I got this, I thought that was pretty cool. It runs off a 9-volt battery, but you could easily hook up a 9-volt power source to it if you want to go that route. So there's that. And then let's talk about the favorite Ferengi pastime, acquisitions. So some of you watched a post I put on the Facebook group, and I know not everybody on here has Facebook. So basically what happened was my Grex, which I've been using to do my painting because I get a wide spray pattern out of it. I took it apart and cleaned it, put it back together, and it was blowing air out of the paint cup, and I couldn't figure out why. And just an update for those of y'all that helped me out, I appreciate it. But I figured out it was the 4 little holes on the front end here apparently were clogged. I used a little pin and cleaned those out, and now it works fine. But I went out and got this Iwata Eclipse as a backup. And I gotta tell you, you know, people gripe about Iwatas and that, and I can tell you that this one here so far, I've used it twice, and it's a really nice airbrush. It's a double action, and it's the first time I've used a double action, and I was actually surprised how easy it was to get the hang of and use. So that's something new I've got there to try out on my future builds. But just I mean, if you're looking for something, these Iwatas aren't bad. I've had pretty good success with it so far. And it's a bottom siphon, it's a siphon feed, which is the first time I've used one of those too. But I will say it's really easy to clean with it being a siphon feed. So I'll be looking forward to using that in the future. But so we got that, and then I posted also on Facebook, but again, I know not everybody watching my YouTube videos follows Facebook. But I managed to acquire this at my local hobby shop for 15 bucks. And I haven't seen these selling for less than 60 bucks on the internet, and I've seen some people asking as much as 100 and some change. But so I got this. All the parts are there, surprisingly. But not only are all the parts there, but the collector poster is also in there, and it's in pristine condition. So if you haven't noticed, I've got the one of the Enterprise A behind me, so now this will be joining that one as soon as I get a frame for it. So I was really surprised by that was in there. Decals are in there and all. I don't know how good the decals are. I'll probably get some replacement decals, but they're in there. And the other thing I've got is I got this kit in as well. Not a big fan of the smaller size ships, but I did like the idea of having the Enterprise all in scalable, the same scale size for display. And I had bought something on Amazon and returned it, and I could only get a store credit, Amazon credit on it. So I decided, well, you know, for another 20 bucks I could get this. So I went ahead and ordered this and got it. And I've got an idea for a diorama to display all these together. I'm toying with the idea of lighting these, although it's going to be very difficult. You're looking at least all SMDs, and even them doing basic lighting, maybe the nacelles and some basic lighting in the front, and that's it. It'd be very difficult, but I do love a challenge. So that's something else to look forward to building eventually with all the other builds I have. So at any rate, that's where I'm at. If anybody's got any questions, you know, feel free to hit me up down the bottom or shoot me a message. And you know, as always, I appreciate everybody subscribes. But if you don't subscribe, you don't have to. But please, if you find anything useful on any of these videos, please hit the like button below. Let me know. And you guys, hopefully, we're getting near the end of this. You know, maybe end of, let's see, what's today is 11th. Maybe the end of this month will be pretty close to being done with this build. But at any rate, I appreciate everybody watching. Till next time, keep modeling.